Hello, everybody. Today we will be reviewing 2005 film King Kong. So this movie, I actually was shocked to see that it was 15 years old. I would have been 27 now. I guess I would have been I would have been 12 when this movie came out. Is that correct? Am I doing my math properly on that? Let me check. Yeah. Well, because my birthday is later in the year, I might have still been 11 when this came out because I'm not exactly sure on the release date of it. But anyhow, Jack Black is I would say, basically the main star of this film, as well as the King Kong character, obviously. This is probably one of my favorite films. I think it still stands the test of time as far as I'm considered. Sometimes I tongue twist. Anyway, I'm getting kind of tired here, but I am going to finish Never Back Down 2 as well, and do my review of that. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably already seen that this video won't be coming till Monday, so that's kind of irrelevant to say in this video, but anyhow. Continue on with the actual movie. So, in this movie, Jack Black's character Carl is a director. He basically just directs animal films, and most of the people that he's presenting his films to want more of the films. I guess they want more female characters and more nudity, basically. They don't want just the animal clips anymore. It's just not enough to sell, I guess, in this time period. I'm not really sure when this movie is supposed to be set, but as far as I know, Skull Island, which is the island that King Kong lives on, hasn't been discovered yet. So, Jack Black's character Carl is planning on continuing the making of his film on Skull Island, but not letting any of the cast know, or the people who crew the ship know what's going on, so that he is able to actually get to this location. He just tells them that he's going to Singapore, and the people who were viewing his film were trying to get after him to arrest him due to the fact that he ran off with all the film, and they were going to keep it and scrap it. But he doesn't want that to happen, so he takes off with Jack. What was his last name? Jack Driscoll, right? Jack Driscoll, who, the girl that he finds to take over the role, what was her name? I don't know why I can never think of her name. But Jack Driscoll and Carl, who was Jack Black's character, why can't I think of her name? That's really bugging me because I just watched the movie. King. Oh, come on, it's got to be here. There we go. Right, Ann Darrow, that's it. Okay, so Anne is a big fan of Jack's, so basically that's why she decides to take on this role, thinking that they're going to Singapore, but it ends up turning out to be not Singapore at all. In fact, it is the location they were wanting to go, Skull Island. They do end up finding it. At first it looks abandoned, until all of a sudden this native tribe to the island ends up killing a couple of them at the very beginning. That's the first thing they run into on the island, and then they hear the roar of Kong behind the wall, I guess. And the one woman keeps saying something in her native tongue, but all you can understand is Kong. So you know that obviously they've worshipped this creature, and they're trying to give up some sort of sacrifice, maybe, I guess, is what they're basically doing after they capture Anne again on the boat, just when you think they're going to get away, and then they have to go back onto the island to save Anne, because Jack realizes that Anne has been captured. So that's where the real adventure begins. Carl ends up seeing Kong face to face. So Kong takes and farther into the island, they end up running into a lot of hardships along the way, including dinosaurs, who a lot of them end up getting trampled by. Carl loses all his film that he's gotten from the island. There's one scene with like creepy crawlies, like bugs and stuff, where they fall after they have their first meeting with King Kong deeper into the island, and he just flips the log they're on into like this giant, I don't know, kind of like a crater type deal where it just like falls down. I don't really know what you would call that. Anyway, and then the rest of them eventually are saved from the depths of that, which is basically like a swamp at the bottom. I would say the scene with the native tribe from the island is probably one of the creepier scenes in the movie. I just want to touch on this again briefly. I guess when this movie was made, I would have been 12 or 11 or 12, somewhere around there. And yeah, this scene used to creep me out. I believe I actually went to see this movie in theaters, if I remember correctly. I believe I did. And that scene was just always odd to me. Little creepy. It doesn't creep me out anymore. But I would say the animation, in some parts you can kind of tell how like green screened or fake it is. But for the most part, this movie animation-wise definitely holds up, even 15 years down the road. And I think a lot of older movies still do that, even though they maybe kind of go back in and remaster them and touch them up maybe a little bit, just to kind of preserve the film a little bit more. So Anne's basically trying to get away from Kong the entire time, unfortunately to no avail. Every time she tries to get away, she just seems to run into more issues herself. There's one scene where she runs into these, I don't know what you'd even call them, they're eating something else, but then they're like giant lizard creatures, kind of like a Komodo dragon type looking thing. They end up chasing her. Then she runs into T-Rexes. Kong has to come to her rescue. That was one of probably the better battle scenes in this movie, or action scenes, where Kong's fighting the 3 T-Rexes and trying to keep Anne from getting eaten. Eventually, Jack and Carl and all of them are able to draw Kong out because Jack goes back for Anne at the end, and he's able to escape with her. Then they are able to capture Kong. They are able to bring him back to New York. I believe this film was set in New York. I don't know. Does it actually ever say? I believe it's New York, though. I could be wrong on that. If I'm wrong, please comment down below, because I might be wrong on the location. So basically they're putting on this live show of Kong, kind of reenacting everything that happened on the island, because unfortunately they don't have any film left, so they can't actually show what happened on the island. So Carl puts on this reenactment. He thinks that it's safe, that Kong can't escape. Eventually he breaks out of the chains when the actress isn't actually Anne, it's somebody else playing her. He just kind of tosses her to the side. And then he goes throughout the city looking for Anne, as he also chases down Jack in a car, ends up catching him. Then Anne comes out of the mist or smoke, I guess, and he takes off with her. Eventually the military catches up with the two of them. He climbs I believe it's the Empire State Building, if I'm not mistaken. He climbs to the very top. All these planes come in, start fighting him. He's able to take out a few of them, but unfortunately, in the end, he just takes far too many bullets and ends up falling off the tower to the ground. And everybody surrounds, takes pictures, because it's like, oh, the 8th wonder of the world, basically, King Kong, because how else would anybody believe that unless you took photos of it, right? So then Carl comes up through the crowd, and there's these two reporters talking. He said it's the planes that got the the monster or the creature, or Kong, because he's just a stupid animal. He doesn't know what he's doing. And I think Jack Black's character Carl probably delivers the best line of the movie. He says, "It wasn't the planes that got him, it was beauty that killed the beast," because we all know, in some sort of sense, I guess, Kong falls in love with Anne, or at least cares for her a great deal. I don't really know why it was only her. Maybe just because she's female? I'm not really sure how that connection works, or maybe she just had some sort of... I guess they kind of do build some sort of relationship while they're on the island, in a way, even though she's trying to escape from him. In the end, she ends up feeling sorry for him, based on what they're trying to do to him, capture him and such. So I guess, in a way, they kind of had some sort of bond. It wasn't really love, I guess it was more of a bond type deal. What was I going to say? Anyhow, I would give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. I don't want to give it a full 10 because there are some parts in the animation that you can tell, but in 2005, this movie was definitely way ahead of its time as far as animation, CGI, and effects go, I would definitely say. And they picked a very good cast. I'm hoping that theaters will be open next year, and that Kong versus Godzilla will be a thing. So I might just go back and actually do like a re-review of all the Kong and Godzilla movies. I'm actually going to try to find the older ones, because I did see it once at Sam the Record Man. And yeah, the Godzilla collection. So maybe I'll have to order that in at some point in time when I have the funds for it, as well as the King Kong collection too, just to kind of do all those films at some point in time. But anyhow, yeah, I believe that's all I have to say about this film. I don't think there's anything that I missed. And please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.